All right, I am about 12 minutes behind because I was having technical difficulties here trying to get on Facebook Live and Twitter. I'm sorry, not Twitter, Periscope at the same time. And for some reason, let me turn this light on so everybody can see me a little better. Sorry about that. There we go. For some reason or another, I don't know, the camera wouldn't work and the internet service was going in and out. I don't know what's going on. I told you I've had issues with AT&T. I didn't like Comcast because they were too expensive. So I don't know, we got to find something, another alternative. But good evening, everyone. This is Aria Craig. Let me fix this a little bit. I am an empowerment and leadership strategist for moms, particularly single, divorced, and blended moms. I want to apologize for being on a little bit later than intended. For the past couple of days, I've been on at 6:30 for the 3-day broadcast. And today, like I said, we just had some technical difficulties, but it's nothing that we can't get through and move past. So we're going to do just that. I am, as I said, I am an empowerment and leadership strategist for moms, and particularly single, divorced, and blended moms. And what I do is I help them to get to the next level of success in the 3 categories, which are the 3 most important categories of their lives, which are parenting, relationships, and careers. So today marks the last day of the 3-day broadcast, with my title being how to, and this is for in the relationships category, so how to stand in the gap with your man or for your man. So this is when I'm sitting at panels, most of the time the panels have to do with relationships, which is very cool because everybody has their own perspective of what a good relationship is and how to make a relationship work. But there are just some standard principles that people, I think, for a couple to follow in order to make a relationship successful. You're going to have times where there are going to be ebbs and flows, ups and downs. How do you deal with that? How do you move forward? Hi, Sienna. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so very much for joining me. Appreciate you. There are going to be ebbs and flows, ups and downs. The question is, what do you do about that? Do you decide to give up? Do you work through? What do you do? Do you figure out, okay, what are we doing wrong? What am I doing wrong myself to where we are having so many issues? What am I doing wrong to where I'm getting a certain response? So what do we need to do to correct that to where we can make things smoother for both of us, because we're in this together. So for us, I want to, as women, I really wanted to talk about especially single, divorced, and blended moms. And I'll tell you why when we get to like the last portion of the segment. Over here, we have Facebook Live that's joining us. Hi, Felicia. We have Facebook Live, and over here we have Periscope. So I'm going to be pivoting from one to the next. But I want you all to make sure you join in, share this topic with your friends, this broadcast with your friends. Shoot me a lot of hearts and thumbs up. Please make sure that you participate. Write down your comments in the post. Give me your feedback, because this is actually going to be a really good discussion. Thank you for joining me today, Facebook Live and Periscope. I just want to get going with the last topic for the 3-day masterclass. So I'm going to give everybody, because I kind of started a few minutes late and my broadcast is normally about 30 minutes long, I want to give everybody about 1 or 2 more minutes to join. Hey, want to give everybody it was good seeing you Saturday, by the way. It was good seeing you Saturday, Felicia. So I want to give everybody just whoever's going to join just 1 or 2 more minutes, because as I said, I realize that I'm running a little bit late. And I feel like it's unfair for me to get started so quick when people had the intention on joining at 6:30 and then I was not up. So I just want to talk about, in the meantime, the reasons why I decided to do this broadcast. So I said this for the first day and the second day. The reasons why I want to do the master class is because of my experience as a parent in corporate America, as a business owner, and as a wife of a blended family household. Those are some struggles all within themselves. I've had broadcasts before, Facebook Live and Periscope broadcasts, where I spoke about the challenges of being a single parent in corporate America. I actually have a workshop that I have created in Teachable on how to create your own business as a parent and build a legacy for your family. So now we're talking about the blended family structure. Hey, Casey. Hey, that's my classmate. Wildcats in the house. Yes. So, being a single mom, I was a single mom for 12 years. Been married for 5 years. Been with my husband for 8 years, but we've been married for 5 years. My son is now 17 years old. And when we got married, it was a blended family structure with my son, and then my husband was divorced. So he brought into the marriage 3 children. So we have 4 altogether. And when I tell you that the dynamics of being a blended family is like no joke. You're dealing with different personalities. You're dealing with different values, with the way people were raised, the way they grew up. So it's a lot of having to compromise, having to create new values, new structures, new strategies to make sure that everything flows. But today we're going to talk about, hey, Ramonia, we're going to talk about so much as standing in the gap with your man. So one other thing I want to talk about is also the reason why I'm doing this masterclass is because of the stigmas associated with single moms. The stigmas, the fears that we have, us building confidence in ourselves and each other, being able to support each other, and to create this movement for women that are ready to move to that next level as a single mom, not necessarily in terms of, I don't want any, for me, my target audience are not for people who are stagnated. They are people who are ready to shift into that next mindset, that next level of, I know what I want to do. I just need help getting there. They're very ambitious. They're very outgoing. They already have a plan in place. They just need help on how do I get this in motion? And that's where I come in. So, again, it's in the 3 most important aspects of your life as a mom: your parenting, relationships, and your careers, whether it's in corporate America, which I spoke about yesterday. If you go back at the 6:30 broadcast, I spoke about three impressive promotion-worthy strategies, but also as an entrepreneur. So let's get started with talking about standing in the gap. My husband brought 2 children. Oh, yeah. I think you meant to say brought. Yeah, 2 children into the relationship, into the marriage. Yeah, and it depends on their ages too, because I know when my husband and I got married, my son was 8, his son was 7, his youngest daughter was, I think she was 9 or 10, and then the oldest one was 13 or 14. So now they're like 22, one just turned 19, 17 and 16. So at the beginning, it was funny because my relationship with, 2 teenagers. So you know how it is at the beginning. The teenagers are a little funny. They kind of just like, they're trying to feel you out. And then, they don't, because they had their dad and their mom, even if they weren't married, they just used to a certain way of life between their parents. So when you come to the midst, it's like, you taking my dad away from me. So especially the girls, they are very much that way. So the little kids, when they were younger, because the boys, they got along great because that's how I met my husband, was through baseball. So they played and they did all kinds of stuff together. They didn't care. They just wanted to be together. They didn't care about me and my husband. But the daughters were a little bit tricky. They were a little bit tricky. I was closer to one before marriage, and then after marriage became closer to the other. So it's like it was definitely a shift. And, when you're a blended mom, the other parent has an influence too. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. From my perspective with my husband, not my husband, my son's father, we were never married. So him coming into the relationship with my blended family dynamic with my husband was fine. I mean, they get along well, as to where my relationship with my stepchildren's mother, not as much. So you said I still have the youngest who never accepted me or the marriage, and we have been together for 9 years. And you know what? You can't, sometimes it's just going to be one of those things where you cannot spend so much of your life and your energy trying to make somebody else happy. That's just how it is. You're doing the best you can as a mother, and you have to do the best you can as a wife. So it's like you cannot, when people are not accepting, you kind of have to move on. Hey, got my cousin. So you got to kind of move on and do you at that point. That doesn't mean that you don't still love them. You will accept them once they come and accept you, but you're not going to impose yourself on anyone at a point to where you realize, I'm trying to be a stepmother. If you're not accepting of that, then I got to keep it moving. But once you are ready to accept my love, I'm here for you. So I just want to get started with what I wanted to discuss today with standing in the gap. So here, let's get started. So for men, hi, my husband is on, so he could probably make some comments here and there also. Hey, cuz. So let's get started. So men are men all by themselves, just as women are, but they can handle some things different because they are men and they can stand alone. Although we as women know it's not good for them to be alone. So as I stated before, I've stated this all the time, men are drawn by physical aspects, while women are drawn by emotional aspects. However, men feel love different from women, and this is something that I taught at a I don't want to say a workshop. It's more like a seminar that I spoke at maybe sometime in the summer around I want to say September, or maybe it was August. Women equate love to feeling safe and through emotions. While I'm breaking up. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. If I'm breaking up, am I okay now? Because I can't see it going on my end. It seems like it's going clear on my end. Is everybody able to hear me? Hey, babe. Is everybody able to hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up or something so I'll know that I'm not breaking up really bad. And I'm actually using my data on my phone. So I hope that you guys can hear me clearly at this point. So I'm just going to start over a little bit with what I was saying. Okay. Hey, Sienna. Okay, so what I was saying is that I really want to drive this point home because this is very important with how we understand and relate to our men. So women equate love to feeling safe and through their emotions, as to where men equate love through being respected and through validation. So women are the helpmeet, which means we are the support. In a message I heard a while ago from Joel Osteen, he stated that his wife Victoria made a comment stating that Joel is the head and she is the neck, which I thought was clever because, as we all know, the neck supports the head. Without the neck, the head cannot pivot. So I thought that was very clever how she made that analogy. So here it is. That being said, we are the support system for our husbands. So the 3 ways that you can stand in the gap, or in other words, support your man, are emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. All with making sure that boundaries are not crossed. You have, of course, a healthy level of intimacy, and he continues to feel respected. Again, men equate this to love. So let's take a deeper look at each one of them. So emotionally, a woman can stand in the gap for her man by being a cushion for him. And I have to admit, while I'm going through this master class, I had to actually get the help of my husband to make sure that I am relaying the message correctly from a man's perspective. Hey, Courtney, another one of my classmates, Wildcats. So I talked to him yesterday because I had my own thoughts and what I've been, speaking when I'm sitting on panels and talking to women in groups about how women and men translate, how we receive message, how we process it, and how we throw it back. And a lot of times when we are relaying a message, the man or whoever it is that you're speaking to, if you're a woman and you're speaking to a man, they're not relaying it the same way. So a lot of times, like for instance, I gave an example of a couple of months ago, my husband and I had a conversation, and it was really funny because it wasn't funny at the time. It was very frustrating, but then I had to really think about it and realize that's right. He's processing it differently. By the time we were done with that conversation, we were both saying the same thing, just in different ways, and neither one of us realized it. Like I was saying, I'm like, I had to say to him, I think that we're saying the same thing, just different. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I think so. So we reiterated each other's point, and then we realized we really were saying the same thing. So that just lets you know we just process things different. But in terms of emotionally, you know, a woman has to be a cushion for her man, especially during the time where he's experiencing a lot of challenges. So for men of color, this comes from many more angles than a man who is not, because he's fighting other battles that are different. That he's fighting other battles that other men don't. So she also needs to compliment him and find ways to show him that she values and appreciates him as her partner. So for instance, if he comes home from work having a bad day, and what you want to do more so than anything is make sure that he feels validated. So you want to prepare his dinner for him. You want to fix his plate. Hey, Kai, fix his plate. That's one of the things actually that I was taught as a young lady. I fix my, Tanya can tell you this. I only did this one time where I didn't, and Tanya might even laugh at it, but every other time I am fixing my husband's plate, because I was taught this as a young woman. That's what you do for your man. I mean, so I was doing that for my husband before we were even married. You want to greet him at the door with a big hug and a kiss. One of the things that I struggle with even now, because I analyze things and I got to spit things out, I have to, even now, and my husband probably tell you, I have to say, I'll wait till you get situated. So I'm not coming at him with questions and running things off, and all he wants to do is just have a moment. So, see, Tanya's laughing. So she knows what I'm talking about. I'm like, I ain't fixing his plate. I was very upset with him, but we've gotten past some things. So, and I thank you, Tanya, for supporting me. I love you very much. So, another thing you could do, which is a good practice, is if you know he has a guilty pleasure, then have that already together. Like if he likes to smoke, my husband likes to smoke cigars. I'm not a big fan of that, and we have been working on that together. But what I do is, if he is having a really bad day, it's tough for him, I'm not opposed to him going and having his smoke, as long as it's not inside the house. But if he goes on the porch or something and he has his cigar, he just needs a moment, I'm all for him having that as a gateway for him to just calm down and relax and take his mind off of things. And another thing, like if it's a football game on, have a football game ready for him with his plate. All you got to do is pop that joker in the oven. When you tell him, let me know when you were 5 minutes down the street, pop that joker in the microwave. So when he comes home, you have the plate together on a tray, his favorite drink, the napkins or whatever, and all he has to do is sit down and watch TV once he's situated. So this is the time that you need to love on him and not ask him, like I said before, a bunch of questions, or he will retreat. And I learned that the hard way. And then you're going to start feeling neglected. The second thing is, my husband said yes. So the second thing is, you want to stand in the gap for him psychologically. A man needs to know that he can fulfill your needs and that you do not do being less than. I want to say that again. A man needs to know that you can fulfill his needs and he can fulfill your needs, and that you do not view him as being less than. In other words, thinking that he's not smart enough, he's not good enough, he doesn't make as much money as your last partner, or he doesn't throw down on the stove like your uncle. Constantly comparing him to some other man. Therefore, the woman needs to provide her man with assurance. Let him know that he is second to none but God, and that he is a man who completely complements you as his woman. Next, he also needs to know that he is part of your vision, so that the future that you are building involves the both of you, not just him, not just you, and you're doing this all by yourself. Like me as an entrepreneur, I'm building, I have 2 companies that I'm working on right now. My husband is not in the finance industry. But there are things that I talk to him about that could possibly, hey, Carolyn, my sister in Christ, that could possibly, there are things that I ask him that could possibly be a benefit to me while I'm building my company, considering he has a master's degree in marketing. He's had his own business longer than me, so there are tips that he can give me to help grow my business. There are some things that I've learned as being part of the being a C ambassador, not ambassador, sorry, C, what are we? Gladiators, C gladiators that my girl Kai is part of, and my girl, who else is on here? Sienna is part of, that we have learned as part of building our brand, promoting our brand, and doing the marketing to support our brand to bring more exposure that I can share with him from maybe a technical side or whatever the case may be. So even when I'm stressed out, even if he's not part of understanding the process behind the financial part of what I do in one of the businesses, or as an author, there are times when I'm very stressed out, and it makes him feel good that I can lean on him for that support. So that's giving him that assurance and letting him know that he's able to make me safe, which is part of what he's supposed to do as a man. So he wants to hear your journey. He wants to know what's going on with you and what he can do to make things better, even if he can't be directly involved in the operational piece. So the third thing that I wanted to stress out, and I know it's spiritually, standing in the gap for your man spiritually. I'm very well aware, and I recognize that everybody's not spiritual. I am. So I'm going to kind of come from a certain degree when I mention this. So a woman needs to understand what calms her man's spirit. She needs to understand what gets him centered and at a place of peace. Staying in constant prayer with God, our Father, with a mixture of a few other things such as meditating or nature. For me, my husband and I love fishing. So that's one of the things that we do that brings us to a place of centeredness, and it's very therapeutic for us. So we just block everything else out. He loves to fish. I love to fish. Let's go do it together. We have been a couple of times where we've been maybe 10, 15 minutes down the street, and we will sit out there all night. It's like early in the morning, like the sun is coming up. You can see the sun coming up over the horizon, and none of our cares. We don't care about anything that we are going through, whether it's what we've been through at work, financially, what we gonna eat tomorrow. Like none of that even matters, because we are sitting there trying to figure out how we gonna catch fish, and we reel them in too. I reel them in more than he does, but shh, don't tell anybody. Anyway, also your man needs to know not only that you have a relationship with God and you are praying for him, but you have faith in him also to make certain decisions for your family. His decision making is critical to the health of your relationship. So he needs to know that you believe in him and trust him to keep you safe in your marriage. When a man is married to a woman, it is his duty to cover his wife and take care of his family, which means that he makes some of the tough decisions either with you or for the benefit of you and your family. And because he knows that those decisions are going to impact you and your family. He said whatever with the fishing part. That's funny because he knows I bring him. Because I take pictures, y'all, and I post them on Facebook. He'll put the worm on the hook, but I'll reel in the fish. But going back to what I was saying, the man makes the critical decisions about the family and the household. So either he's going to make that decision with you, or he's going to be by himself making that decision, understanding that that decision is going to impact you and the family. So his decision making is very critical to your relationship. And, you agree as a wife with the decision, you can always come from a place of love to let him know that you disagree, and maybe you guys can figure out another plan. Okay? So as a recap, I want to apologize again for being tardy, but as a recap to this third day, the last day of this masterclass, the ways that you can stand in the gap for your man are 1, emotionally, 2, psychologically, and 3, spiritually. Later on, I like to create a series on what respect looks like from the perspective of a man and a woman, because there's similarities and then there are some vast differences. So now I want you all to chime in. What is your relationship goal for 2007? Like, what is one goal that you have for 2017? in terms of your relationship. So I want you guys, if you can, feel free to type in the chat and let me know what does your relationship look like for you in 2017 with your partner, your mate. If you don't have already a partner or a mate or someone that you're with, what are some things that you want to attract? Like, how do you want to be with your personality to attract your mate in 2017? Like, what have you done in the past that's going to make a difference in your future that you need to change or evolve from a different perspective so that you can attract your mate for 2017? You guys can feel free to chat me, put everything in the chat boxes. I'm really interested in knowing and think about it for a second. Like, what do you want to do better? Is it that, you want to attract a mate? Do you want to have a better relationship with him? Like, you want to be to where you're more in tune with your mate? You're not arguing as much? You guys have better communication with each other, which is one of the reasons that, and finances are one of the reasons why more dating activities, travel. Okay. And my husband and I are going to actually talk about that. So that's actually a good thing. And that brings us to the next one, why you guys are thinking. For the past few classes on yesterday and Monday, I had actual challenge assignments for them. And if you weren't able to participate in the broadcast, again, go back to the 6:30 broadcast from yesterday and on Monday. Go through the broadcast, and toward the end, you'll see what the assignment is, like the challenge is. And it's always about writing something down, because if you write it down now and date it, and this is what I do all the time, date it, come back to it 3, 6, 9 months to a year down the road, you'll be able to track your progress and your growth. So for this assignment, what I would like for you all to do is write down some things that you want to do. Like I said, for the chat part, write down some things that you want to do to have a better relationship. Whether it's a change in your personality or you and your mate getting together and having a conversation and saying, you know what, we kind of had some weaknesses in this area. Let's try to figure out how we can change that and evolve a better relationship. So for this last day, this is something that I would like for everyone to do and really take that in going into 2017. The first one was on parenting. The second one was on your career. Today is on amping up the romance. That's good, Sienna. So there's let me see. There is a suggestion that I gave that I actually saw on Facebook. One of the things that my husband talked about dating, which you can also use this for romance. So for the dating part, what we did was we saw this on Facebook. Somebody had like these, what were they? They were like, they weren't toothpicks. They were like popsicle sticks. And they had different colored popsicle sticks. And what they did was they wrote on the jar from the popsicle stick to have a legend that says, we're going to spend this amount of money on this color. This color means we're going to go out. This color means that we're going to stay home and we're just going to be movie night. It had like 4 or 5 different options depending on the color. So what will happen is, once you and your mate are ready to have a date night, you would just pick one of those popsicle sticks, and then whatever the legend is for that color is what you'll do for that date. So you can also use that for romance. Like, what is it going to be tonight? Like, are we going to have kinky boots night? Is it going to be, lingerie night? Are we going to go out and have a romantic dinner and set the atmosphere? Is it going to be role play? Whatever the case may be that you and your husband like to do that gets you guys more, I don't want to say more connected to each other, then that's a fun way to do it. And it's like very low cost. And it's fun because you don't know what's coming. Like you have to, it's just going to depend on whatever color you pull out of your container. So that's an idea. When my husband and, like I said, we're going to have talks tonight. We're going to have a talk tonight about what we want to do in 2017. So traveling is big for me. He and I both love to travel. We didn't get a chance to do that much this year. And it kind of, I don't know. We're just going to plan for it for next year. Like, that's something that we're going to do. And it's traveling from a business perspective and also from a personal perspective. Like, we like to travel across the country. So it's not just traveling to Miami or Vegas or anything like that. We like to go. I want to go to places like Aruba. I want to go to Punta Cana. I want to go to Rome. I want to go, I have all these places in mind that I want to go to, and I believe that 2017 is going to be the start of that year to where we're going to be able to do it. So that was all that I had to share today. I had the broadcast again here, Facebook Live, and over here on Periscope. I think I did more talking over here at Facebook Live than I did at Periscope. But just to let you know, this was the last broadcast. I hope you enjoyed all 3 segments. Like I said, the first one was on parenting. The first one was called, I got to go back and look at my sheet, How to Lead So Your Children Will Follow. The second one was How High Do You Want to Go? 3 Impressive Promotion-Worthy Strategies. That one was good. If you have time, go back and look at that one, because I gave some great tips on how, what you can do to increase your chances of being promoted if you were in corporate America, because I'm always talking about being an entrepreneur. So I wanted to talk about the other aspect, whether you're government or corporate America. And, if that is your goal next year, 2017, is to be in a higher leadership position. So I hope you enjoyed my 3-day masterclass. Please connect with me either here on Facebook or at my email, which is aria@ariacraig.com. Thanks, babe. My husband is my biggest supporter. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. I have more in store in the coming weeks, so stay tuned. And until next time, I want you all to please stay fabulous. Thank you all for joining. Bye.